Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's a great pleasure to be back at CA again. I'm just going to show you some recent work tonight. I work with artists, CD covers mainly, but also work with actors and anybody who's performing on stage. That's what I do. So you'll be seeing some of those examples in a few minutes. Thank you. I need some help. Well, as well as doing artists, I photograph businessmen too. And this is a businessman. Believe it or not, he actually looks very much like an actor to me, but he's a consultant, he's a trainer, working in the high levels of business, and he came to me because he needed a set of pictures for his new website. So this is one of the classic portraits I would do of business people. They lean a little bit towards the camera with the nearest shoulder, which makes the picture more dynamic. This is what makes it a different composition to a normal passport photograph. So, need to advance. So, oops, we skipped again there. This is a more modern approach. The colors on the projector here are a little washed out. The picture is desaturated, which means the colors are taken away, but not quite as much as the example here is showing. But this is not so much a portrait for a businessman now. This is a more classic I would say actor kind of photograph. You'll see the difference between this one and the last one. So I wouldn't recommend he use this as his main photograph, but we did this as part of the series. And this was taken using a much stronger light on the face, which helps chisel out the features and gives you a good balance between light and shade. This was also part of the series. Business guys want to look more in a lifestyle setting now. So this was taken in his office and he was working on some project, and I just took a whole series of him in this style, which is very, very modern at the moment. Once again, the colors are slightly desaturated. The contrast is brought up a little bit. And this also formed part of the website. The website isn't complete yet, so I can't give you any links to it, but these pictures are quite new. And this was another picture from that series. I'm looking forward to seeing what he makes of the website design now. Okay, I put this picture in because it's an example of, shall I say, photographs of groups of people. This is a music group. They play funky music. The lady with the red hair is 75 years old. Yeah, 75. She was wonderfully funny during the photo shoot. They all came together, but I photographed them separately. So this is a composite. Each person was photographed against the same background with the same lighting, and I chose the best of each, or the pictures that fitted best together, and then actually comped them together in post-production. It's quite a lot of work, but it's worth it to get the right look. This is another example of a job I did for a group of people who perform soiree concerts. It's run by the professor, Dr. Walter Anderler, who's the gentleman with the hat. And he organizes concerts throughout the year with various artists. You can see Heike there with the flute. I don't think there's anybody else you recognize on the photo. This was also a composite photo, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 photographs in total, and then I actually put them all together. It took quite a long time, as you can imagine, with all the cutouts around the hair and so on. But I would never get a group to look this good, really, on one single frame. It's absolutely impossible. Also, the lighting has to balance, and the scaling of the heads so that nobody's head is out of proportion. It's quite a bit of work, but I think it came together quite well here. From that series, there were some pictures inside the brochure. This is the cellist who you saw on the group photograph, George Ongert, who is a well-known cellist in the Nuremberg, South German classical music scene. This is a classic portrait, black and white, in the style of Yusef Karsh, who is a famous black and white photographer from the 1940s, 50s, and 60s. And I wanted to present George in this very classic style. This was also part of the prospect that went together with the soiree concerts. This was photographed at the Tram Museum in Nuremberg. So this is a museum where the trams are just parked up there. There's nothing moving in there. We just had to get permission to be in there for about 45 minutes. And this was a humorous shot of Mr. Ongert, who you saw on the previous photograph, trying to retrieve his cello before the tram pulled away. I'll just move quickly on. This is also one from that series. This is an actor from the Nuremberg Staatstheater, Nicola Lembach. This is her again. Her hobby is painting, and she did some painting in our house when she was there. This picture is of a conductor, Bernd Müller. He came for some classic conductor photos. When people come for press photos, they normally expect something like this as a picture to send to the newspapers and the magazines, and then we try more creative pictures later. This is another photograph from that series. This is a classic PR type shot. The press always like to have a choice of photographs, and this is very much an artist photograph. It doesn't have to be too clever, fairly straightforward lighting, and an interesting composition. This is a classical guitarist. His name is Moritz Beck. He and his brother are from Nuremberg, and his brother studies violin and Moritz classical guitar. And then just a series of photographs during the photo shoot. This is one of my personal favorites here. Technically it was quite challenging because I wanted the lighting to be in this Rembrandt style on his face. But I also wanted to show he was a guitar player, and I didn't want his hand to be too out of focus, but I didn't want it in focus too much, and all those little things go through the photographer's mind when he's setting up his composition. But for me, I like this picture, and it has a reality about it somehow. He wasn't posing for me, he played the guitar, and I just worked around him with the camera. This is a fairly standard sort of press shot. This is his brother Julius, firstly in black and white, then in desaturated color, and then a fairly well, interesting composition. Once again, he's leaning forward just a little bit with the right shoulder lowered towards the camera, and this is one he'll be using for his publicity at the moment. Moving on, this is a young violinist by the name of Anna Mertens. We've done 2 photo shoots in the last 12 months. This is one from the first session. Once again, you can see the focus is on the face and the violin and the shoulders, and the dress is slightly out of focus. That gives you a sense of depth to the picture. It's the first photo shoot she ever came for. She'd never been to a photographer before, but we tried out different compositions, and the photo shoot was a lot of fun. We had a makeup artist and shot in black and white and color, more lifestyle photographs taken in our studio. This was quite fun to do. It was her idea, not mine, but I'm pleased she suggested it. This is in our studio, and the wall is a special Italian, Germans call it Spachtel effect. And Heike's father specializes in this, and we're very fortunate to have, I think, 4 different walls in our flat done in this special style. And for photography, it works very, very nicely. This is in the studio on the first level, which is where the lighting works best. Well, the violinist got married. Yeah, she got married this year. In fact, only 6 weeks ago. And of course, Mr. Yates was asked whether he would take a few steps. So, as you know, I'm not a wedding photographer, but I have trained in wedding photography many years ago. And I was able to take a few studio shots. And these pictures haven't been retouched yet. The colors are a bit yellow actually on the screen here. They're a little bit more neutral in reality. But yeah, there's one more coming, I think. Yeah. Okay. For example, this photograph, you can see just a few little marks on the forehead here. When she makes her final decision, all these marks will be taken away. It's just one of those things, and most people expect it these days. I would never let a photograph like this leave my studio without being retouched. But apart from that, I'm very, very careful how I use Photoshop. I really don't use it very much, but only when I need to. And this is a typical example just around here, where it probably takes about 20 minutes to blend all those into the flesh tones there in the forehead. Well, this is an opera singer I photographed, but she was pregnant towards the end of last year. And this is just one from a series of portraits we did just before the birth. She's coming to me, I think, in the next few months for artist photos. So I'm looking forward to that very much. Moving on. Maybe showed this picture before, I'm not sure. Yeah, this is a young cellist from Switzerland who's one of the rising stars in classical cello at the moment, lives in Lucerne, studies, continues his studies at the Juilliard School in New York, and is a very, very nice person. We had a good photo session together. That was taken, I think, 18 months ago. This is an actor and opera singer. So once again, you know, his hair doesn't have to be too perfect. He didn't want to look like a banker or something like this. He wanted to look like an actor, and he gave me the expressions he wanted to give me. And this is what they expect. So you don't have to make them look too glamorous. This is a more classic photo that he would probably use in a concert program. Okay. Just another portrait series taken in the studio. We have a balcony there, which is proving very interesting for photos now. We've always had it, but I never used it on photos for about 5 years, and then decided it might be a good idea to try a few photos there, and I use it quite a lot now. This is natural daylight coming in from the right-hand side. It's a very large window there. Well, I put this in for Werner and Esther tonight, you know. This picture is one that we haven't really used a lot, but it's always a picture I've liked. There's various versions of this. This is the original version. I have one that's a bit darker and a bit more contrast. But this picture has something special for me, so I just thought I'd put it in for Werner tonight. Yeah. I think that's the last one. I just want to show you, actually, 2 more things before I conclude. One is a photograph I took only about 3 weeks ago, and I'm just going to find it for you because it was meant to load into the gallery and somehow it disappeared when it came to look at the final shot. This is it here, yeah. If I can just get this to fill the frame. Enter full screen, that should be it, yeah. There we go. This is a photograph I took for Steinway and Sons, the famous Steinway pianos in Hamburg. And this was only a matter of 6 weeks ago. This is a young ballerina, and the picture was taken in the shop, actually, where the piano was being sold from. And I actually put the window in later because we were looking for a window like this, and I found a location, but it didn't have a piano, and we didn't have enough money to go through transporting a piano to this place and then paying rental prices on the ballroom where the window was. So I said, okay, I have an idea. So I photographed the window and placed it in. It took quite a long time, as you can imagine, but Steinway were very happy with it, and they're going to be using this now for international publicity around the world, so they tell me. So I'll be looking out for that in magazines in the future. Finally, in answer to some questions I've been asked about photographing live events. I'm just trying to get the... I can't find the mouse at the moment. Well, I don't know where it is. Can anybody see the mouse? I think it's... here we go. Thank you very much. Okay. Thank you. It's actually this photograph here, which is on the website, but I wanted just to explain because some people asked me about technical things. This was taken during rehearsals for the Bamberger Sinfonica with the chief director, Jonathan Knott, who's an Englishman. And there's a whole series here which I took during rehearsals. For the technically minded, this was taken with a 300mm lens with an aperture f-stop of 2.8, which is a very expensive lens. I don't own this lens. I rented it for the day. It cost about 400 euros for the day. But it was a way of getting the photographs I needed to get. So If anybody wants any more technical information, I don't want to bore people who are not so technically minded, but please come and speak to me later. And finally, this is just two shots from, this is another conductor, American conductor living in Germany at the moment by the name of John Lidfors. And this was a moment during his conducting, which I managed to capture here. The very tender moments, the moments where they're deep in thought and deep into the sensitivity of the music are sometimes the best time to take the picture. And finally, this is a cover I did for Sony Music. I think it was 2.5 years ago, and I have another job for Sony in 3 weeks in Switzerland. So I'm very much looking forward to that and look forward to showing that to you next time. So thank you very much for your attention, and enjoy the evening.